Welcome to New Hampshire's Business. I'm Fred Coker. New Hampshire's labor force is thousands of workers short. What are the reasons? Here's a quote from my guest who will tell us why in the next few minutes. New Hampshire's labor force remains thousands of workers below pre-pandemic peak levels. Several key industries still have significantly fewer filled jobs than they did before the pandemic began, with historically low unemployment rates indicating a shortage of workers in the state. Of course, we all see that. And here are some key New Hampshire business sectors with fewer workers: retail, manufacturing, food services, school, paraprofessionals, which are teachers' assistants, healthcare, and nurses and therapists. With me to explain all this is Phil Sletton, Research Director at the New Hampshire Fiscal Policy Institute in Concord. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Fred. It's great
to be here. Nice to have you here. I know of only a few individuals in the state that do the research on things like this that can explain it, therefore, based on facts. So I'm glad you're here. Here's a graph you brought with you, which shows New Hampshire residents participating in the labor force in the green line on top and the blue line on the bottom that shows those actually employed. Explain this, especially the shading in the middle that shows the unemployed looking for work.
Yeah, so that shaded area is, when we think of the unemployment rate, that's how many people that comprise that unemployment rate in that shaded area. So if you look at the 2022 average, it's actually about the same number of people who are unemployed as were in 2019 on average before the pandemic. So that amount, to that extent, the labor force constraint that we saw before the pandemic has returned. But now it is more severe because we see the number of people who are looking for work or working combined. That's a lower amount than we saw prior to the pandemic, even though the state's population has grown and the state's economy is larger.
Here's the most interesting information that you brought, to me at least, the common reasons why individuals aren't working. And here they are. It's based on a survey, actually, of New Hampshire adults right up to February, from left to right. Don't have transportation, caring for older adult, laid off or furloughed, caring for some sick with COVID. And the big three reasons: caring for children not in school, don't want to be employed at this time, that's interesting, sick or disabled.
Yeah, so for the people who are saying, I'm sick, so I couldn't work over the last 7 days, that we saw those numbers ramp up actually a little bit in the fall and the winter in these survey data. So that suggests that the respiratory illness season that we had did affect our labor force in terms of people's ability to participate. Yep. The do not want to work category could be a wide variety of things. People have to select one option when they're responding to this survey. Could even be individuals who, for example, say, I want to stay home and care for my child. But that next category that says, I would be in the labor force, except I can't, I am caring for a child who would otherwise be in school or daycare, suggests that the limited availability and affordability of childcare in the state is holding back the labor force.
Interesting, interesting. In talking with business owners, they tell me they have, some business owners, they've had to increase their wages in order to attract employees that they need to run the place. This next graph is on wages, annual change in average inflation-adjusted private sector wages in New Hampshire. It shows wages going down in 21-22, the far right side of the graph, after going up the 2 previous years. What's driving that decrease?
So in 2020, we saw that a lot of workers with lower wages were laid off, and that raised the average because a lot of workers with higher wages were continuously employed, while workers with lower wages lost their jobs. We saw that in 2021, the wage growth actually still outpaced inflation, even though more people were being hired back into the labor force. But in 2022, especially with global energy and food prices increasing, inflation outpaced the growth in the average wage in New Hampshire.
Interesting, interesting. Anything surprise you in all of this?
Now, one of the things that I think is noteworthy is that in the survey data that we see for residents in New Hampshire, that's not including the people who otherwise might have moved to the state but couldn't find housing, or people who were going to school for college, for example, outside of the state and then stayed in the labor force there. So I would say those are two constraints on the labor force that we have in New Hampshire that these data aren't able to directly reflect, but there are certainly some surprises in here.
Phil Sletton, Research Director at the New Hampshire Fiscal Policy Institute. Thank you.
Thank you very much.